Welcome to our Devos. This week, we are in the middle of deep thoughts, and they are deep thoughts. We talked about Noah's Ark. We talked about what Jesus called a time called the days of Noah, what prompted Noah's flood, and there's other things we could get into. That's a whole discussion about that. But one of the things that we want to focus on as we look at the idea that God told Noah to build an ark so that his family could have safe passage through God's judgment. It's quite an amazing story. But what's most amazing is that God provides Noah with safety. And today, I want to specifically emphasize one thing that we should be doing on a regular basis. We should thank God for the safety of salvation. We should be thanking God for the safety of salvation. When I think of 2020, I remember all of us, the whole world, all of us, every single person, when the COVID pandemic started, in that crucial time between March and May, before we were understanding how things worked and about transmissions and who was at risk and all of those things. And I know we're not going to get political here, but there was a lot of things that happened that we probably would do differently. But I remember really after things started to open back up and we started to see that there was an opportunity for safety, that there was a moment in my life in particular where I had such intense gratitude because we were safe to a degree. Of course, there's, you could still get COVID, and, I'm not saying I'm not saying ignore your health or anything, but what I'm saying is we all had that moment where we thought the whole world was going to come to an end. And then there was a time when things started to open up. And I remember that moment of gratitude and thinking, this is what safe feels like. I don't want to let this go. I don't want to forget this feeling. And I think one of the reasons why we tend to not thank God for the safety of salvation is because we don't think about just how unbelievable it is that God saved us from eternal damnation through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. We don't think about that enough. And we don't thank him enough for the fact that this is truly a gift. It's not something that we've earned, but it's a gift. And we don't do that because we take it for granted. We're forgetful. We're not faithless, but we're forgetful. The nation of Israel had that problem too. God would deliver them. He would set them in stability. He would allow them to come back up out of the depths of discouragement, and then they would become forgetful. Well, we, just like them, become very spiritually forgetful. So don't forget to thank God for the safety of his salvation in Christ. It says in Colossians chapter 1, verses 12 through 14, Paul writes, "Give thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and has transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins." He said you should be thankful. He said you were in the kingdom of darkness. You were without light. And God chose to enable you to be translated from dark to light, to be translated from death to life, to be moved from lost eternity to an eternity as a part of the family of God. This is not something that we should ever get tired of thanking God for. I know it's elementary, but sometimes the way that we deepen ourselves spiritually is by going back to the things that first excited us about God to begin with. And the further we get in our theology, the more that we understand ourselves and who God is, the greater the temptation it is for us to forget to thank him for the gift that he's given us of safety in Christ.